Obviously, our way of handling exposed miserableness is different from.
Oh, and sure. I guess their culture, they just kind of push that deep down.
Yep. Don't be a burden to society.
Oh, yeah. It's got dark. I don't like. Go to the Mario Cafe.
Topics. Yes.
Game over.
What up, boys? It is your spooky weekly Tendos podcast.
John, I keep forgetting it's actually the spooky month. It's not
I honestly forgot where I was going. Like, as I was saying that, I said spooky, and then I went in my brain, where is this going to go? What's the next word? No. I had no idea what to say next.
It's not even very spook. Like, I see.
What are you talking about? My room is dark as hell.
That sounds like a personal choice.
I mean, Luigi's Mansion still scares
me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That game is like a year old by now. Wow. Time sure is.
Time moves in a linear fashion from point A to infinite. It's
only linear if you're on the same gravitational influence.
What?
Anyway. You're mumbling to yourself.
We're doing a good start.
Yes. No. We got topics. We got
lots of topics, John.
I mean, this is the first week ever that I added some topics of my own.
John, picking up the slack of I'm not going to
some of our journalists here.
We can we can call ourselves that.
We're journalists, right? People listen to us.
Yeah. That's right? The qualification.
And, I mean, it's almost like saying like any other medium that gets sued by like Hulk Hogan is also a journalist.
Hulk Hogan? What?
Yeah.
He's a journalist? I thought he sued journalists.
Benny got what I was saying.
Yeah. But we have nugs.
We have nugs. We had Nug Fridays. We had Nug Times. So we have a few topics here to talk about, and then a bunch of spam that I wanted to add in because
the board is half spam.
What are you talking about?
There's like 6 topics that all say in sequence, bruh, why am I adding topics? And then I wrote, stop that, and that's another topic.
So and that's another topic. So we've already covered those topics. They're done.
Wow.
All right. We can knock
You're welcome.
Lightning round.
Yeah. So we'll start with the first. Back to this is going to be our weekly segment of Andrew complaining about people playing Super Mario 64.
I guess it is a weekly thing. This is someone I know personally. This is a friend of mine who I convinced her to buy the game, and she's busy. She's working 7 days. She's like, all right, I'm finally going to hunker down. I'm going to try this game out. She's like, I'll start at the beginning. First game, Mario 64. Open that game. She's like, all right, there's a, the castle grounds. Walking around. There's not much to do here. I guess I'll go inside the castle. She says, I'll go inside the castle. Bunch of doors. She says, I don't know where to go. All the doors, they don't let me in. So she goes into a door. There's a painting. And she says, oh, there's a painting. Well, nothing to do here. I guess I'll turn the game off. So that's
Did she not talk to Toad? Toad literally tells you what to do.
No, well, Toad's invisible. I don't know if you saw Toad because they do this weird thing in only this game where Toad is invisible until you walk up to him.
Because he's not real.
Yeah, I think it's the same Toad throughout the entire castle. Just this ghost of Toad's past.
Yeah.
Toad does tell you to jump into the painting. I would think it's obvious because there's nothing else you can do at that point. So just jump in.
I guess this is aching a little bit, right? To old games versus new games.
Yeah, it is right? That topic.
This is the topic I think of generations of gamers. And
these days
I've ranted on this to a lot of people regarding MMOs.
The kids are soft.
It's someone else can answer this for me. Yes.
You don't even play an MMO. You're just along for the ride.
Yes. You don't even play the MMO anymore. They put guardrails on you and they say if you're going left or right or you're talking to people that you shouldn't be talking to, guess what? You can't do anything.
I mean, that sounds fun to me. John, if I want to play a game, I want to sit back, relax, crack a cola. I don't want to think.
A liter of cola? Like
a whole liter.
A whole
just
liter?
One, not two. Just only 1 liter.
But like Super Mario 64 is like such a, I guess, if you really think about it, right? It is like a legacy of game design where you get the intro, you play with Mario's face for a little bit, and then you hit the start game, right? The camera guy comes in, swoops in. You're like, oh, what's Mario just popped out of a pipe, and the camera guy's here. What's he gonna say? Oh, I'm just gonna be your camera. Here's your C controls, right? Which obviously are on Switch. But then you walk into the castle, and you're gonna get a bunch of doors. This is I think a UI experience at this point, right? Where you have a bunch of doors with stars on them, and in your HUD you have a star counter on your HUD, right?
Yep.
But then you also have these doors that have a number of amount of stars that are on them. I don't know how many more context clues do you need.
No, well, I mean, the doors weren't the problem. Like this person who I'm calling out on the show, they entered the right door.
Well, at one point you're gonna.
How would you know there's a star in that?
So
John,
when
that
you
painting, that painting has no stars on it.
so when you walk up to the painting, what happens?
I don't think she got that far. But it does. What would happen if she were to bump up against the wall? I think it does that effect.
It does the water effect. It does
It's
the
the
ripple
warble.
effect.
They call it warble. I don't
Warble,
know.
warble.
I don't know if they call it warble. That's the sound it makes in my head.
It's a ripple effect. It's a water ripple effect, right? And I mean that's a clue. And
That's a clue.
I think this
Yes.
I think this is also a problem of like maybe needing to know context of Mario. He's a jumper.
I mean, she loved Odyssey. That was like her favorite game, and she got not all the moons because she's a casual, but she played like that game for many hours.
Attacker.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's something where I was very curious how quote unquote modern gamers would react to this collection, and the answer is not well.
No. I mean, modern gamers don't. If you kind of think about it, right? Modern gamers do not act. Oh God, this is gonna be. I don't want this to actually become a real topic. Modern gamers react poorly to anything that is pre 2000.
Is that true? I don't know,
Yeah, that's
John.
true.
How do you think
I think it's true.
you think so?
Yes. They're all weak.
It's no, it's in a way of really like I guess actually talking about this as a topic, right? It's the way game design and games have developed over the course of from the 70s to 2000s I think are drastically different from 2000s to now, right? And this is not speaking about graphics. This is not speaking about technology.
You're talking about design.
This is purely design, right? You can't anymore create a game that just drops you into a location and say and gives you no direction, right? Even Skyrim, a game that is built about being able to do anything you want, you're still not dropped into something. You're given decisions, you're given a task to do in the first 5 minutes.
But they give you, it's either like a big text box or a character speaking to you, like follow the arrow.
Exactly. And then like even like at the beginning,
yeah.
like the beginning of Skyrim, everyone's always talking about it's a game where you can do anything, but your first 20 minutes of the game, you're literally directed. You're directed in a direction to go. I'm not saying it's bad.
It's just that is a change in game design over the.
This is a change in
it's
an ultimate change in game design. Like if I were to tell you, like Final Fantasy 1 came out in 1987, right? You hit the start button. They tell you right. The intro is literally, it gives you the backstory of the game, saying, "Hey, there's 4 crystals. The Warriors of Light are going to show up and save the world," and you end up playing the 4 characters that woke up with crystals in their hand. And what they do then is they drop you literally in the center of the world map with not telling you nothing.
It's kind of the same reason why, I don't have anything to compare this to. People have like popcorn brain now because we have all this stimulation from like, I don't know, Twitter.
I don't know if it's stimulation
we don't have
though.
attention spans
I don't think it's stimulation. I think it's people don't have the patience.
Yes. I think we're talking about the same thing. Like my friend got to a point, and because there's a billion other things to do in current year. She's like, I'm going to turn this game off and do something that gives me instant gratification.
Yes. Yep.
How
Yep.
we all are, I think, now.
It is. I mean, it's at the point of instant gratification. As one of my topics, I go back to Final Fantasy 11 a lot because I hate to say it, I want a game complicated.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
I want a game that literally I sit here and I have Excel sheets to map out certain things.
Oh yeah, you need Excel sheets to play a game, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's not really good.
I've looked over your shoulder, like at streams and like playing that game, and it's just it's kind of incomprehensible. There's just so much text, and it's just small text, and there's a lot of detail, and it's a different experience.
Yeah,
that's a game that demands your full attention.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Mario doesn't. I mean, it shouldn't.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, no, but even still, like I can say this, like I would say Mario, like the old Super Mario games, the old Mario games demanded more of your attention than the current Mario games.
Max, in a different way, they can demand your full attention. Like later on in Mario 64 and later on in Mario Galaxy, it gets pretty tricky, and you're like gonna die 20 times in a row when you're just jumping over stuff. But like, hey, you gotta be careful. So just and it's a very different way than.
It is a very different way. That is very true. But if I think if you start like thinking about how like levels are designed in old day Mario games or not even because if you look at old day Mario games, right, the levels are pretty linear. Well, they're all linear, but they go from point A to point B, right?
Right.
And as they started branching into the 3D world, they needed to find a way to make the levels flow seamlessly. So they needed to like what you need to do at that point of like design, you need to find a way to set up guardrails or rails that as a player you in a sense will follow, right? Because you want the player's experience to go from point A to point B. You don't want the experience to stop.
I've noticed the trick, the cheap trick they do in Mario 64 to achieve this. I only noticed it like this time playing this game for like the 6th or 7th time. What they do is they just make for every level they design, they're like, all right, we're gonna design a mountain, and the first star, you go to the top of the mountain.
Top mountain.
That's like every stage.
Yep.
And if you think about it, it's a designer way, right? It's a designer trick, in my opinion. I don't know if this is like a write up or anything, but it's a designer trick to teach you as a player to the whole map, right?
Yep.
Like it's a way to trick the player to say explore the whole map and get to the top of the map.
Yes, and from the beginning, for the most part, there might be some exceptions. From the beginning of each stage, you see where they probably want you to go, the top of the mountain. Like you can view that point.
Yep.
As a wise man once said, if you see that mountain, you can go there. It just works.
But and that's true, right? Because that's like it's in my opinion when it comes to design, when it comes to like a level design or game design, right? It's if you show something as almost as accessible, right? Then it should be accessible.
Yeah. Sometimes that's not the case.
Sometimes it's not. No, that's
visible
true.
Walls and stuff.
But like sometimes it's not the case. But sometimes I mean, I think majority of the time it should be the case. If you create like if you're Mario 64, you show the top of a mountain as like an intro to a level, right? Well, you should be able to get to the top of that mountain.
You know what I always wanted in that game? You know there's a not Hazy Maze Cave. The one where you can change the water levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that
background.
Stage.
You see that background? It's like this whole weird city.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to that city, John. What's the deal?
But that's the thing. It's like you should because you've now created this like this thing
picture
where
in this
picture
head,
in anyone's head of a location that you should venture to. Like even think about it. Like in 64, you see the whole castle and you see parts of the castle that seem like areas that you can land, right? And what do? They reward you if you beat the whole game that you can land in a specific area,
right? And even
on the castle.
Yeah, spoilers. Top of the castle. Yeah, that's a good point. That's funny how like Galaxy really. I don't think you haven't played much Galaxy.
Not yet. No.
The groundbreaking. I feel like I'm an ad. I really like Galaxy. The thing they did in Galaxy and the problem they solved with the gravity gimmick. Sure, it's a gimmick. The problem they solved is invisible walls or just endless pits, right? So like Mario 64, like you can go to any top of the mountain you see, but you can look over to the side and it's just
You're like, oh,
invisible wall. There's nothing. In
Yeah.
Galaxy, you have all these planets, these large planets, and you can go around the whole thing. So there's no barrier. It's pretty nifty.
It's
They
it's
did
a, it's
good
a, it's a
job.
good trick. It's a good trick of being able to kind of skew the user vision and user experience to kind of like obviously you're playing director, and the craziest thing about playing like designing video games, right, is you're not. It's not like designing a movie, where you're only going to show the users what they can see, right? There's no you can't see past the screen or the film, right? Where in games, it's like, well, I created this world, and depending on how the user camera angle changes and how they want to change their camera angle, they can see whatever they want. Some of them might break the walls and somehow see underneath the floor, right? So like those are things you can't really design for, but those are things that like that go into the idea of designing the game.
Emergent behavior. I don't remember what that means, but I thought it would be relevant to say that. Yeah, no, it's a cool medium, and I think it's pretty neat. The sad thing is that like I don't know, no one's really topped Mario 64 or Mario Galaxy. Plenty of people are still making games, and I look, you're doing a great job. However, you haven't made a game better than those. Right?
I guess. I don't know. That's that. It's, I have
Opinion.
other. Yes, I was gonna say I have other games that I think are better, right?
Sure.
So do I.
Yeah, but like those are good. Those are good. I would
They're pretty
say
good.
this. I will always say this. Mario 64 did revolutionize platformers.
Not just platformers. I mean the way the camera works is how.
I just kind of like look at it as it revolutionized. Like that's what it revolutionized. Was just like the idea of platformers is no longer a 2D media.
I think
medium
it's more than that though,
anymore.
because I think any third person game that followed has something to owe to how Mario 64 worked, because there were 3D games before it, of course, but they were no one knew how to do a camera.
Well,
like
no,
put it on
'cause,
a
like,
track or put it here,
well,
put it there. Like
that was the thing. Most of the games put the cameras on the track, right? It did revolutionize. I would say, yeah, it probably revolutionized on the idea of what a full 3D camera behaves like versus like on the rails. Like Knights for the Sega CD was an on the rails 3D game.
or Gex.
Or Gex, yes, yeah, and then majority of like Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot was a 3D game, right? But it was very like on the rails. It was a rail.
Well, do you know
right?
the code name for Crash Bandicoot?
Really?
Sonic's ass. Because it's like they're like, we're gonna make a game like Sonic, but you only see the characters
Ass.
beautiful, big, juicy.
I mean, it wasn't that big, but he did flake it around a lot.
It was pretty small, actually.
It was pretty flat. That man was not.
Oh, kind of a waste.
He skipped like that.
He skipped. His glute max was not so glutey or maxy.
Can I ask a question for the fellas? I saw a post, and I don't know if it was a joke or not, where the post was like, "All right, they're going to the gym," and it's like, "All right, can't skip ass day." Is ass day? Can you? The question is, can you exercise your ass?
Yeah, squats.
But is that specifically ass, or is that like your legs?
I mean, that's your legs, but
Right,
since
yeah,
your legs
so-
do get since you are say doing the push motion of like other behaviors that happen with the same push motion.
What if someone wants a targeted ass workout?
They squat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure. It's just
You can't. Yes, you got to have focus, and that's why the Crash Bandicoot games were so good. Naughty Dog focused on.
Yep.
This is where Sonic's ass. This is where it's going to be. But like, so yes, I do agree with you, Andrew, on the point that like 64 did do a lot of things, and it did revolutionize camera. And I believe it revolutionized the whole platform situation. Because after that, right, you had how many different platformers that all copied the same idea? It doesn't matter if they're good or not, but there's so many.
Like how important, honestly, I love them, but how important are 3D platformers now? I think 3D platformers were only good as a launch pad to other like kind of more complex genres.
No, I think so
They're
too.
dead. Other than Mario, they're kind of dead.
Well,
Right?
Mario's the only one. I wouldn't say other than Mario, they're kind of dead. I would
I
say
would.
Mario's the only one that survived.
How is
Right? That's
that?
the way
Yeah.
I think it's a different definition, more of like the others. Either some did die, right, or others did go into other different like styles.
Because that
Right?
like during that like the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
there were two things: 3D platformers and Bill Clinton, and only one of those things lived to tell the tale. Because that was my point is that was the genre, right? Like now there's plenty of different things that people are playing that are popular, but that was the popular genre for a while, and that's just
Yeah.
not the case anymore.
Well, so yes, exactly.
People have kinda
Now,
moved on, I think.
so if you kind of think about it now, think about the top games right now, right? And how
I don't even
they're
know what they are. I'm not
Right.
in touch.
Benny. What do you got?
Benny, what are the
Fortnite.
top games?
The kids play that.
What
That
game?
gen. Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah, like shooters. I mean,
So-
well, it's still third person.
It is, but
I mean, it has a lot of platform elements actually.
it's
So
yeah, there's a lot of platform elements, but not even like thinking of Fortnite, right? One game that's tested through almost a decade, even more actually, if you think about it. Minecraft is first person, can go
Sure.
third, right? Then you have other games that are a lot of actually a lot of games that have tested through are now becoming are pretty much just first person shooters, right? You're always going to have the first person shooters, or you're now they're trying to remove you from that and put you in the not in the shoes of the player, but behind the player with the third person style.
it's a weird thing to think about because it's like it's not like everybody's only playing first person shooters. There's plenty of it's a
then-
vast gaming ecosystem out there. I
But
don't know,
then think
what's
of
popular.
other games, right? Other games that other people play that are all third person, right? So you have the MOBAs, which are fixed cameras, right?
MOBAs?
Like League of Legends.
Is it mobile?
Oh, sure,
Real?
okay.
Or
Yeah, like the MOBA genre
Oh, I drew a blank. Yeah.
is a fixed camera, right? And you just kind of move the camera around the map. Then you have obviously you have your RPGs, which are kind of moving into a more 3D kind of style camera, but a lot of them also are still fixed cameras
Well,
too.
RPGs are a lot of things. I mean, I think the thing with like my point about 3D platformers, and I think people have moved on, but I think they've merged and melded and become more complex with other genres because there are plenty of RPG, like 3D RPGs that have platform elements.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's
I think to me, I think a lot of 3D platformers have merged into more of a cinematic style. Like think of we go back to Naughty Dog in this aspect, right?
Yeah.
They had the 3D platformer down when they did Jack and Daxter, right? And then they went from that to Uncharted.
Yeah, Uncharted is just like
And
the movie platform.
it's a movie platformer,
With punching.
exactly, right?
And killing civilians, many of them.
With Mark Wahlberg.
With Mark Wahlberg.
Wait, is he in it? Oh, the movie. They're
Yes.
never gonna. Every. All right, hear me out. Every 2 years, they say they're gonna make a Naughty Dog movie. It's either Last of Us or Uncharted, and I don't. It's never.
Oh, it's just the game. Why make a movie when you have the
why
game?
make a movie?
Right. You can move the camera in this one, but not the movie.
I think Gemini Man. It was
Oh God, stop it! That's Metal Gear Solid right there.
It is.
It's just literally Hideo just didn't get a choice to make his movie game, and instead some Hollywood guy said, "I got Will Smith to do it."
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, Andrew, what's this topic? Cake Bash.
Cake Bash launch trailer also coming to Stadia. Quote: "Be the chosen bun." So I was looking for topics because big week of news. There's a game that's out now on Switch. There's a demo as well. I added it as a joke topic to be like, haha, look at this stupid game. It actually looks pretty wholesome. I'll post a link. It's like really cute and it looks well made. It's just a fun little party game. It's kind of like what's that restaurant party game?
Are you talking about Diner Dash?
No, the it's like
Overcooked?
Yes.
Overcooked Cookie Mama?
It's like a 4-player couch multiplayer game, but it's really cute. It's like you got all these cake characters and pastries. They've all got these cute faces. It's just like a Mario Party kind of style. And it's out now. So
That's cool.
play
That's
on
cool.
your Switch, your Stadia. It's the first time I heard the word Stadia in quite some time.
It's been a while since I heard Stadia. I actually heard it at work earlier this week too, because we were talking about something, and we're like, "Oh, this is like something about it on being on the Stadia," and I just went, "What again?"
John, are you breaking NDA on the podcast?
No. This is it was just like we were talking about like some game,
Some other
game.
okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Stadia, that's a thing."
It's just, I mean, they haven't killed it. Google will kill it because.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing I like about Google is like they're not going to
Yeah.
just keep investing money into something that's obviously not profiting well.
They spawn all these children that they don't care to feed.
Well, I mean, at one point in time, you got to kill them.
I mean, they should have taken proper precautions,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
kill
I
it.
won't go into detail.
kill it.
Like they've taken precautions already.
So
Just don't
I
kill
don't
YouTube
think
music. I like it.
I don't think I've seen this before, but like when I was in Japan, there's always like these nice like food places or themed cafes. They always have themed cafes, right? And and that was like I think one of the fun things to do in Japan because every time I go, I always go to the Final Fantasy or Zia Cafe, right? Just to kind of #pay respects, but to also kind of like have fun. And I had friends that they went to the Monster Hunter Cafe and they also went to the Pokemon Cafe. Is this new Mario Cafe anything like that?
It looks so good. I posted, I think John, Benny should have seen it too. Everyone must see this. They've got all these Mario themed drinks and the whole decor of this Mario Cafe. Only in Japan for now.
It's most of the time they're only ever going to be.
Yeah.
Oh. No, well, I believe it's in the Universal Park, which is, coming to the US of A. I don't see why we can't have a Mario Cafe as well. It's just the decor is fun, and I'm just a sucker for the Mario aesthetic, of course. But I don't know, it's cute.
That's exactly what I'm saying though. Like about these like cafes in Japan, these themed cafes in Japan. This is exactly what they're like, right? And they're fun. They're obviously like I guess you could say gimmicky.
Of course, yeah.
But they're fun. You get themed drinks. They're overpriced, but you go there for like that. I guess that once. If you're obviously you don't live in Japan, right? You go for that once in a lifetime experience.
Oh yeah, there's no regulars.
Yeah,
overpriced. Yeah,
exactly. You're like, and this is fun, and you get to obviously like. You get to enjoy the drinks. You get to play with the merchandise. You get to buy merchandise if you want.
I will say they made the staff dress like idiots. However, they all look pretty happy to be there.
Yeah, and that their whole thing is that they have to look very happy, even if they're miserable inside.
Well, they say the same thing in this country, but
we're I would say our obviously our way of handling exposed miserableness is different from
in Japan, sure. I guess that their culture, they just kind of push that deep down.
Yep. Don't be a burden to society.
Oh, yeah. It's got dark. I don't like. Go to the Mario Cafe.
Topics. Yes. Well, no. Go to the Mario. It's probably very fun.
Looks great.
The food's probably pretty good.
Can we talk about the Steve one?
Yes. All right. So I didn't actually click this topic, but there was a topic on my Google Cards. That was talking about how in development, I added this one in, during Smash Brothers, as they're implementing Steve, they codenamed him as Pickle.
Was he, was that a placeholder model, maybe?
It probably was.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I think it was? Not even reading
Creeper?
the topic because I did. Is the Creeper. Exactly, Betty.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't know what the Creeper was. They probably thought it was a pickle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think it's just like, in all 3D software, you have like a primitive of a capsule. It's just kind of two spheres connected in a capsule. I imagine they just put it in a capsule and painted it green.
Yeah, they're like, this is
a model.
pickle.
That's what they do. They work on the controls
and then
first.
They put two pickles on the side of it to act as arms, right? And you got a 3-pickle Steve.
I'm Pickle Steve.
I'm Pickle.
You need a certain IQ to understand that one. That's for the really smart listeners out there.
Oh man,
I hate it. Kill me now. I didn't play the Mario Kart circuit. Benny, did you play the circuit?
I did not.
Benny, will you play the circuit? Benny, can you buy the circuit?
I don't plan on.
Benny, you have a home. You have a full ass house.
You have the most real estate out of all of us.
Think of the square footage.
I can dedicate a whole room to the the activity.
I'm just saying, you have the most
Like,
real
hide
estate
the
out of all of us. Have the
You're gonna
cat
hide
ride on it. Have
What?
Georgie ride on it.
I don't think my
Well, the big news, it's out now, actually. 7.4.
Really?
That's pretty high.
7.4. Pretty
That's
good.
kind of higher than I thought it'd be.
Same.
Well, I imagine the reviewers are like, this is cool, but it's a gimmick and it's an expensive one.
I would say I imagine it being
I
an
think that's the thing.
expensive gimmick, and that's kind of really what it is.
All of Nintendo's expensive gimmicks, like, I buy them and I smile. I play them twice.
And then you're
they go
like,
in
damn
my
it.
closet.
You go, damn it. Right? That's just all how their expensive
My
gimmicks
closet is just full of cardboard for Labo.
Welcome to my 2 closets.
Did you buy Labo?
I didn't buy Labo. I'm not going to buy Labo.
Boxers?
Just boxes of stuff.
Labo was fun for a bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I haven't seen much.
No, because
out
what
of
the heck are you
anything.
going to do with that stupid thing?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? They're like, out of ideas. Move to the next thing to sell people. For
At least they kept the idea of amiibos going.
Those are less expensive now. I mean,
They are.
They're reasonable for.
But they're not. It's not like they didn't kill off the amiibos with the Wii U. They kept it going the whole way through,
Sure.
right?
I think they emphasize it less in terms of like the integration in games.
Yeah. I definitely could see that.
How much time we got?
We got about a minute 45.
Oh, man.
I know, right? We actually covered the whole thing.
Yeah.
To this question. So, should we create a GoFundMe so I can get a 3rd Switch?
I thought you only had one. What?
Well, I technically do own 2. I
But
have in my possession 1.
Yeah, that's effectively not your Switch. You gave it to someone. You're letting. Is it lending? Or are you expecting it to come
I'm
back
expecting
soon?
interest
Huh? In the form of what?
of a Switch and a half.
A Switch and a wait. What?
Yeah, well, I mean, you need percentage. You got to get money off the interest. I just don't want a full Switch. I just can't get a whole Switch back because it's used in torn and wear and tear, right? Tattered, exactly. You need to get interest back, and I would happily take a Joy-Con or 2.
How about this, John? Here's what I can do for you. I don't know how to use GoFundMe. Never used it. What I do know how to use is change.org. So what I can do, John, if we get 100 signatures, that means the federal government has to fund John's Switch.
What I think should happen in the change.org or change.org, change whatever.
Change.org. He's a mess.
is there needs to be a way to piece part a Switch so that you can get parts of a Switch. Right now, there's only 3 parts. You got the left con, you got the middle, you got the right con.
It's useless without.
It sounds like a con.